Wow. That's one of my favorites.
Thank you.
That is one of my favorites right now, and it's one of my favorite people. Stars, what's going on?
What's up?
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I'm so glad you're back.
It's been a few years.
I know, right? Yeah. Wait, let me bring this down. I'm always clipping. I don't want to be the reason this fucks up. Need this. I be losing interviews sometimes because, like, parts of them because it be clipping. I'm not going to do that today. We need every bit of it.
Yeah, get it all.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Last time you were with us was 2018?
2019, I think.
2019?
Yeah.
That feels about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, wow, yeah.
Pre-panty.
Was that pre-panty time? Yeah. Was that around Sacred Bull drop?
Yeah, that was right before Sacred Bull dropped.
Wow,
Sure.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I
That's
came in with
crazy.
Jay.
Yeah.
We talked about the record. Yeah.
And just the process and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember because we used the cow cowgirl hat.
I had my cowboy hat.
And now you got the boots on today.
Yes.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle.
Always.
We're always on theme.
What did you say? How would you describe this outfit today?
I was calling it Nana Core.
Nana core.
Yeah, like grandma.
Yeah, y'all gotta catch up.
You know?
Me
Yeah,
in
you
the
gotta
future.
catch up because layers
The
are
sweater
it.
is crazy.
Thank you. My dad makes these sweaters. He's super talented.
Your dad made this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Hold on. Hold on. What? Wait. So,
Yeah.
You know what? And this is great because, you know, I feel like even as long as we've known each other, I think I'm not as familiar with the complete artistic background of your family as well. You know, I'm familiar. I know you post about your little brother sometimes here and there. You'll share, and you have shared your pop's artwork, other things that he's created.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
some actual pottery.
No, that's me. That's me.
You're on the pottery.
Yeah.
So exactly. So what else is going on in the household?
Yeah, both my parents are artists. They're specifically fashion designers now, but they've always been artists of multiple mediums. My dad specializes in sweaters, knitwear, and denim design, but he does everything. He's one of the most amazing couturiers I've ever known. Couturiers. You know, he hasn't had the resources that he should as, you know, an African immigrant in this country.
Absolutely.
So his light, you know, shines brightly in a small space.
Absolutely.
But you know, I hope through what I'm doing that as I wear his stuff out and people keep asking like, "Yo, where's that from?"
Yeah, because now I know. I'm like, wait, so it's possible to get another one that he's like, not this exact one.
Not this exact one. Yeah,
this
it's one of a kind.
One.
Yeah. They're all one of one, and you know, he's been making them for decades now.
No, I'm seriously about to cop one. Like, absolutely. Yeah.
Get on the list. My mom,
Dang, that's crazy. What?
Yeah, they're super talented.
Exclusive.
Yeah. And my dad and my mom, they met in an artistic capacity, and my mom learned how to design from him, and now she does it full time. Before that, she was a graphic designer, and just an amazing visual artist. My mom's the type of person who could like sit down and draw a photorealistic portrait of you if you gave her like 3 days. Like, she would just hand drawn, like, and she sewed all my costumes growing up for Halloween. She'd like make me outfits. She can do anything.
Isn't it funny how like that probably never like it was like, oh yeah, it's just a Halloween costume.
Yeah, I mean, I always appreciated it, but
it's like this is a whole art piece you just made.
Yeah,
what? Like you just threw this up together.
It was usually overnight too, because it would be last minute, and I'd be like, no, today I want to be a '60s like pop star.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're both, and they taught me a lot about being an artist. I think specifically that you have to own it. You have to own being an artist, and that being an artist is about discipline and time and execution, and that looks different for everyone. But that's how I approach all of my mediums. Like, I've been doing ceramics now for 8 years. I've been doing paper making for 5. I've been doing photography for 16 years, and music for 10. And while I don't really show my photography or my ceramics or my paper making publicly, I haven't, done a gallery show since college for those things, it's because I know that I'm working on it constantly over time, and that those things are not as dependent on age as music is per se. And so because my parents taught me what patience and dedication can do for your artistry, like I really have no rush to like prove to people that I'm also a really talented multimedia artist.
Yeah.
So yeah, artsy family. My sister's a director. She's amazing. And my brother is actually a mechanical engineer. He builds cars.
Word.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So we'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You dropped a lot in there.
Mm-hmm.
Patience. There's no rush. Also, just hearing so much not knowing of thyself. We won't say you can only call yourself the master, you know, because I feel like you'll tell me, no, I'm still working. I was like, yeah, I'm always I'll be telling you like, yo, this is crazy. Like, oh, I'm working. It's like, but absolutely, like that's wild. So, and you know, it's interesting because you know you were just working on this photography project that I got to see a glimpse of, a small glimpse of, and to hear you say that 16 years, you know, like that, it's just in you. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. It's just, and to know that, what did you say? There's something about the time with music that's like, it is kind of like a time frame. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Versus like these other mediums where it's so infinite.
Yeah.
How does that, how do you, what was it that kind of, when you made that switch, what was that process? Like, what was that switch for you?
When I realized that music is
what was
time-based,
that perspective switch for you?
it was there from the beginning of the introduction, unfortunately. I started making music when I was like 15, 16 and started writing songs, and then I was discovered by a label at 17, and they were always telling me like, you're so lucky that we found you young, because if you like, it's not even worth starting a career if you're over 25 for women. Like, you're basically just shriveled up and nobody wants you. And then as I approached 25, I had, you know, industry executives and grown-ass men who are well into their 50s, mind you, telling me that I'm getting to be too old to be making music and that I have to sign a shitty deal because, like, you might not be offered these kind of deals anymore because you're over 25. It was always this like arbitrary number that they put out. Like, if you're a woman over 25, you can't be a pop star anymore. Like, you can't be famous. 25
next year. What are you talking about?
Like, right. It's completely ridiculous because in every crazy. Other, you know, artistry and medium, the more time you spend on something, the better you get, the more you master your art and your craft. But in music, we're expected to just pop out the womb prodigies, and it's like, I didn't grow up with lessons. Like, I taught myself everything. My parents didn't have the resource to have me in classes for those things. So, you know, how are you going to compare me to the kid that's been in Suzuki violin classes since the age of 3? It's not fair.
Classically trained.
Trained, like, it has
even those
all the
things
resources.
get kind of thrown around so arbitrarily.
Right. And it has really nothing to do with, you know, the type of training that you have, but your dedication to learning it. And unfortunately in music, because of that rush of time specifically put on women, you often feel like you have to put everything else to the side to just focus on this, because you have to be young and beautiful to be able to get the resources and opportunities that you do. And like, I'm not gonna lie, it's very blatant that I get a lot of opportunities because of how I look and how I dress and how I present space. Right, and I know that. I'm aware of that. So I kind of use my youth and my beauty as another tool on top of the music that I make. It's like, maybe I wouldn't be so stubborn about the type of music that I make if I didn't have those two things, because I would have to like kind of bend to the will of commercialism. Whereas now I can just be me and I can sell, quote, my product, unfortunately is what it is, with my body, you know?
Facts. There's some, this is why I love when we chat. Cause it's like, yo, I'd be like, yo, come through. It's like, it's just like, yo, there's so much, I feel like just a lot of knowing that it and a lot of bravery, and like a lot of courage that I am inspired by, but also that I know it emanates and rubs off on folks that you're around, because it's like that is a lot to endure. And it just reminds me of so many times like seeing you in different places, and I remember some of those, and to hear you say that now, like wouldn't have known the depth of the kind of friction that you were dealing with and just trying to be a creative, right? Like, so here you are today, just released records, you're going on tour, you're playing these shows, you're in this flow, right? Like, I guess, how does that feel to kind of take some of your power back?
It feels great, and I took it back in a it was like it's actually been a process of the last 2.5 years, really, this reclamation of my power. But there was an epiphany that happened about 2.5 years ago. Not even when I started making Revival. Revival was actually me giving up. I was ready to pack my bags and just. I was literally about to turn. I was 26, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just pack my bags. This will be my last project. The music industry's trash. I don't see myself in this place anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. A pandemic happened, so I was like, touring is dead. When is that coming back? We don't know. It just seemed really bleak. And in the act of me giving up, relinquishing to what it was, I found my love for music again in a way that has revitalized my capacity for bullshit, basically, to just keep going.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like I found again the light, the kernel of joy that music can bring, which I had for so long had lost sight of. And after I'd finished recording Revival, that was really my rebirth. It was like the last 2.5 years since I recorded it. So many things have happened in my life that have forced me to stand my ground and to sit in my power. And right now on the eve of my 28th birthday, I feel more powerful than ever, and that power doesn't come from a totalitarian place. It doesn't come from me inflicting power onto others. It comes from knowing that I can take what life throws at me, and I can take it with grace, and I can grow with it and beyond it. And in a way, it kind of makes you feel bulletproof. Spiritually.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got Kelvar on. What?
Right. Like, I'm good. I'm going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fine.
Absolutely.
And just realizing, like, actually, I'm going to be cool. Like, even if I don't, sell out stadiums in my lifetime, like, that's not what it's about. And I had to realize that I had two decisions to make. Either I was going to pursue fame, or I was going to pursue power. And I decided, and I decided to pursue power. Power is your agency, your rules, your flow. Fame relies on a lot of different people, a lot of middlemen, it's very external. It's given to you, it's taken away, it's bartered with. It's a very fragile place to be in. It has nothing to do with art.
Crazy. Think about how many people chase something that it has to be given to you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because I know hella people who in my life that have famous energy. The only thing standing between them and being famous is a few suits.
Talk to him. Hold on.
And it's like,
hold on.
It's really that simple. I think growing up in LA, we may be a little bit more conscious of that than a lot of people are.
Yeah, very much hypersensitive, hyper aware, not
hyper
even
aware of
just
it.
Hyper aware,
because we see it happen. Where like one day to the next, somebody is now famous, and you just like you knew them from the park.
Somebody's streets closed off for this, and just
it's an instant transformation. And if you didn't cultivate your power before you hit fame, it's a rocky road, especially as a musician.
Do you ever feel like that it was a part of your journey when you talk about patience and like how much like all these pivots that you made?
Yeah.
You feel like that kind of brought you back to that?
Yeah. I and it's not an easy thing to come to. I remember crying for weeks because it was a part of me that had to die. That part of me that just yearned for the stability that I thought fame would bring. I had to accept that I love music in a capacity that if I was the only one hearing my music and I'm the only one playing my guitar somewhere on a mountain and no one's there to hear it, that I would still be making music.
You know, remember when I came to see you downtown for the shoot, and you were setting up the tarps, and I said something. I was like, "Oh, you've been recording lately?" You were like, "You know, I don't remember verbatim. I hate paraphrasing." So I'm like, but you said something that it spoke to the nature of you were in that place of just wanting to find, like, not find the joy, but feel the joy. Like you wanted it to just be about the joy. You were saying, like, you know, I'm not chasing anything. Like it's there. You're like, and it was like to see that joy from setting up your set and being in that studio. Like it's cool to hear you speak on that in retrospect, because now it seems like you're back in a joyful place with it. Like it seems like there's a little more consistency. Yeah. A little more. Yeah. So
I found my own joy. It ebbs and flows, but I found for me, you know, finding my own joy and my relationship with my guitar is what sustains me. I think the next step is finding joy within community and collaboration. I had to become very insular first.
Hey, I feel like I would describe you like if we had like a what do they call a parable, like some, you know, story, like, like Annahstasia came down from the treetops. It's just like came from the outskirts of but like nah, like you just in the valley. You just in the valley. That's probably why I feel like that. You got community.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I'm just in the valley. That's true.
But I feel that though. I feel that, and it's glad to see that, because you really do be out popping out more.
Yeah. I forget how many people I've collected in my life over a lifetime here. It's kind of crazy to think, because like up until now I've never felt like LA is my home, because it's such a huge city. It sometimes feels really hard to be like, this is my town. It's not a small town. It's a huge, sprawling, like, and people in different areas. And I live in the valley, so like, you know, I'm removed from it. But now that every time I come back now from my travels, from tour, from being in New York, I realize like I really got people here.
You be talking about New York a lot. Yeah, you love New York, huh?
I don't know. I used to love New York. Yeah. Since I moved there, it's changed for me. It's not feeling quite the same. I think pandemic really changed New York.
Word.
Unfortunately, like the energy is different. Yeah. It doesn't quite flow how it used to. There's like a tense nature to the city. I think it's the cost of living, and just like everybody's stressed and barely you know, scratching by. And it's not like here where even when rent's high and gas is high and all these stuff, there's still a sense of ease because of how much of the sky we can see. I really think that contributes to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all great. Look.
Right. Like we just realize on some level how small we are. Even in this city, the city makes you feel small in the universe.
Even though it is big. Yeah.
Even though it is big, whereas New York, it feels like a man-made matrix. And so you can just become super...
Adjustment bureau.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know where I'm at with my relationship with New York. I think maybe that's the beauty. I now have a love-hate relationship with New York. So maybe I really am becoming a New Yorker.
I love what you were speaking on in terms of power and reclamation. I think that's a good moment to take a break and play this record, Power. Actually, I love that single. We're gonna let them hear that, and we'll get back to it.
Cool.
FTF Radio. We are here in studio with Annahstasia, and we just got into Power. That first record, for anybody who's just tuning in, is While You Were Sleeping, featuring Ravina. That's also so dope. I loved seeing Ravina on that record too. Like just
it was a blessing.
You know, like when I used to love seeing like like when artists, like just the features that felt more than a feature. It was like this is like actually, I want to hear their world together. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt when I hear like Wiz and Currency, or like Kanye with Rihanna. You're like, oh. it's like the Wonder Twins, like Avengers. I'm like, oh shoot, like Community, like
right. Yeah, it just made sense, you know. I sent her the voice memo, and you know, it was a reach. Sometimes you get nervous because Ravina's in a completely different place in her career. She's further along. So sometimes you get nervous, like, is she gonna like stop being my friend because I asked her to sing on my track?
Hey, that's valid.
Because now she's gonna feel used, or like I was plotting. But it was just super genuine. Like I had written that song and I sent her a voice memo. I said, I really hear you on a verse on this. Yeah. And she liked the song. She came to the studio and wrote a little something, and it was really organic and peaceful. And I'm really grateful that she was around for it.
Records got to be like, that's like how a record is. Like I never forget. I forget where I heard it, but I won't forget that I heard this. That was like, there's no record without the relationship. Yeah. And you're right. Music is so vulnerable. It really be feeling like that. Like asking people to, especially for when you know the artist. Yeah. It's a dip. You know, it's like, you know, we've had plenty of sessions. Like literally, like, you know what I'm saying. And I was in different spaces and like and now I'm like, me asking you about a session would be so different now because I'm like in a different space and like shit, like yo. But it's like that, like, you know what I'm saying. You got to catch people in different.
Catch people where you can, and the relationship above everything. You know. Yeah. I think I just miss an era of music when people were in relation with each other a lot more, and now it's so competitive. It's hard to know the boundaries for people because some people are like, okay, we're friends, but if you bring up music, like, that's business. And so I don't want to like get into business with you when it used to be the other way around, where it's like, we're friends, so of course we would make music together.
That was just the fun thing to do with the homies. It's literally, it's so funny too, because that's where I really be forgetting, like, oh, we should make music. Like, I really be like, yeah, let's kick, like, what's going on? Let's go to the museum. Like, hey, I'm going to this bar. Like, I'm like the most non-making music musician. Like, I really do. Like, I'm like always cooking. Like, but it's like I'm not. In the way that people look at like what we do, like it's not just we linking up and partying in the studio and fun and games. Like, bro, this shit really be draining sometimes.
It's
like,
it's work. It takes a lot out of you. And I'm also that kind of musician where it's like I'm not in the studio 24/7. I'm actually rarely in the studio because I only like to go in the studio if it's actually going to be fruitful. My biggest pet peeve is like going into sessions with people and then we make half a song and then don't ever finish it.
And then you're sitting on it.
Right. And I'm just like, yo, that was a kernel of my soul that I channeled straight from the ether.
I just put a piece of my heart right here.
Right. And you're just going to let it sit in a file on a hard drive for years?
It's just...
that's disrespectful.
Hard drives are like cryo freeze for
music.
Art and music.
Yeah.
You're like putting it in the digital cemetery.
Exactly. It is kind of
it's like
digital purgatory for sure. And songs deserve to live. That's why I just started writing everything on my guitar, because then even if I don't finish it with people, I can just go and finish it myself.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
That's interesting too, because I know, well, I'm like guilty of like being the one. I sit on records. Like I sit on records.
You have so many. You have like 50 albums worth of music.
And I do myself, but you know, I do myself a disservice. And you're right, because I'd be like, dang, like it's homies of mine who really be like, bro, put that record out. Like, come on, like they love their verse on it. Like, and then it's like, oh wait, but I still, you know, and I think I'm also kind of, I don't know, similar to what you said about patience. There was like this relinquishing of like the need. It's like, how perfect do you need something to get? Like, what are you doing? What is wrong with it?
Yeah, perfection is an illusion. I mean, perfection is...
Shit is stupid.
I have a wabi-sabi approach. Like, we are all perfect as we are. So if we're all perfect as we are, then the things that we make are all perfect as they are. And I try and strike a balance between just pure creation and then the trimming that happens after that. I prefer not to do a lot of trimming.
Word.
You know, like with a whole...
I remember
yeah, we've talked about this. Yeah, like all of Revival is just live takes. There's no post-production on there. It's 4 tracks in a live room with the band.
It was all in the moment.
And it was all one takes.
That's how I feel like, you know what? Raphael Sadiq said this. I heard him. He was like, that's the difference between, it's like, if it's on tape, that's you're recording a performance.
Yeah.
So like, and in that's so many levels of artistry.
Yeah, yeah, and
More appreciation.
There's there's levels to the experience more so than sometimes when you do everything super clinically, like how we like to record nowadays. It just you lose the intention of the song.
Yeah,
I find that a lot with my music, at least. Like the minute you put a metronome on something I'm doing, it's just like the soul is gone. Because for me, I need to be able to ebb and flow.
That's why I love
in and out.
While you were sleeping, at the end of the at the end of the, I'm actually, it's right before the hook comes back in, when you just take that little beat.
Yep.
I was like, yo, I could feel you literally like going into it, leaning into it, and just having to take that breath, and then continue. And it's like, I was listening to that, and I was like, yo. I was like moved. I was like, yo, like the nerve, like
the nerve.
For real. I was listening. I was like, I'll never forget. I was like, wait, like, yeah, you just fuck my 14.